Okay. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday and happy breakfast with the Senate. I will go ahead and call this meeting to order at 9:04 a.m. and we'll start off with the land acknowledgement. Associated Students recognizes and acknowledges the first people of this ancestral and unceded territory of the Fernandino, Tautaviam Band and Mission Indians. Excuse me, that is now occupied by our campus of California State University, Northridge. Honors their elders, past and present, and the descendants who are citizens of the Fernandino, Tautaviam Band and Mission Indians. Associated Students recognizes that the tribe is still here and we are committed to lifting up their stories, culture, and community. We will now turn it over to the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you're able. Alrighty, I will now turn it over to our Attorney General for the roll call.
Vice President Anderson,
Here.
Senator Bobnagree, Senator Chavez, Senator Doe, Senator Dunn, Senator Kaddish, Senator Iman Khan, Senator Awais Khan, Senator Mezabin, Senator Radionov, Senator Sarkeesian, Senator Saravia, Senator Scher, Senator Tybee, Senator Toledo Carranza, Senator Tran. We have a quorum.
Wonderful, thank you. We'll now move on to the approval of the agenda for today's meeting, February 12th. Is there a motion? Vice President Anderson?
I move to approve the agenda for today, February 12th.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Saravia, thank you. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. We'll go ahead and move on to the approval of the minutes for January 29th. Is there a motion? Senator Saravia?
I move to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Doe, thank you. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. We'll go ahead and move on to special presentation, starting with the CSUN brand refresh. This is really, really exciting, actually. I'm curious what this is all about, with Kevin Lizarraga. You may come to the podium and you can just press the button to turn on the mic. Welcome.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. Very excited to be here this morning. I am a two-time alumni, and I would be in this very room here back there as a program planner for the University Student Union. So it's actually kind of a privilege to be here today. My name is Kevin Lizarraga. I'm the Director of University Marketing. So thank you for having me here today. I have the two presentations to go over. One is a presentation deck for the new CSUN brand refresh. And the second one I'll just touch on briefly, and the designers, graphic designers in the room will be more interested in those components, but I'll briefly touch on that. And then these PDFs could be forwarded to the senators after the presentation. So I work for university marketing, and so part of my charge is to develop the aesthetics for the university and help with the consistency across campus. I don't know if you guys have seen the billboards that have gone up already. Anybody seen the billboard season? You have, yeah, okay. I saw one the other night and it made me very proud. So I hope you guys will be able to see that and see it on Spectrum TV. We also have some new commercial that's coming out for CSUN. So let's go to the next slide. Actually, this is the guidelines. If we could go to the other presentation, sorry. All right, we could start there. So this is basically an example of a billboard. And so while we were developing this over the last 2 years, we did many focus groups, presentations. Maybe some of you from associate students were on those focus groups. But here we have the new brand aesthetic for the university. You'll see a couple main things. We're keeping our color for the university, our hero red color. So that's not changing. We're also not changing the CSUN logo. So that's really important as well. And so we have a strong headline here, Emanate Excellence. And we really wanted to stand out from other universities that are maybe having a more specific call to action. So we're going to have multiple approaches for enrollment and for branding for the university, general branding. And this is that example. You also see a pattern here on the right side, which we're calling a quilt pattern. And I'll share more about that. All right, let's go to the next slide. So here, again, this is the new special use of the CSUN logo, and this will be primarily for the external world. So as we're promoting Cal State Northridge to within a 15-mile radius of CSUN, we know that people know what CSUN is within the 15-mile radius of campus. And so we'll be using this logo for that purpose. Next slide. So this is not changing lockups across campus. So the Associate Students logo lockup will not change unless that's changed from yourselves. We're not changing college logos, department logos, center logos, or anything like that. And we're also not putting logos in this new circle shape. That's reserved only for the CSUN logo. Next slide. Here, more examples of college logos that are not changing. Next slide. All right, so we have some graphic devices. Oh,
that should go.
Let's see. Oh, all right, cool. Thank you. All right, so here we have these patterns here, and we're excited to reveal this to the campus and to see how other areas on campus can create their own patterns that relate to the quilt. The idea is that CSUN is made of many components, a diverse body of students, diverse faculty, and we wanted to show that through the graphics symbolically. And so this is an example of how we're using these different patterns that relate to the radiating sun and creating this theme that's about a quilt. And so here's examples of how that would look like in practice. And so you see the quilt patterns in the background. Campus partners could mix around and create their own quilts. And so we're really excited about how that's used across campus in different ways. All right, so some examples in practice. We don't have a new CSUN app or anything like that coming out. This is just a mock-up showing what this could look like in the mobile environment. Here are examples of what this could look like on the streets. And so these are just mock-ups. And so we don't actually have paste ups on Hollywood Boulevard. But if we did, this is what it would look like. And so you could see how we're celebrating different students at CSUN, the different communities, and then using the pattern to show sort of that diversity and hark back to the brightness of CSUN and really showing that radiating energy. And you'll see some use of some different colors as well to show that. This is an example for something that might be more targeted toward donors or alumni. And so here's just an example of how we could still use those patterns and those quilt shapes in a different kind of mock-up. This is what it might look like on a wall. And so you'll see some use of our tertiary colors, which I'll explain a little bit more about in a little while. And that's an example of a swag bag that you might see. And so obviously this would look different if it was for the associated students. I just got a cool sticker. So it would probably look like the cool Matador sticker, right? And so I'm acknowledging that the university brand has an overarching consistency for the university, but that areas like the associate students will have and continue having your own brand within the brand. Of course, you'll still see red and you'll see the use of tertiary colors as your graphic designers kind of work towards that consistency in your own way. So just some examples of how this would flex for certain colleges. And so here we're not using red, but we're showing, and there is no printed course catalog coming. Okay, this is an example of what it might look like for the Mike Curb College. You'll see a different kind of energy here than for the Nazarian College. And some of you may be in the Nazarian College and you'll know they have a brand within the brand, just like Associate Students has a brand within the brand, right? And so we wanted to show how we could adapt the quilt shape for something more sophisticated in a sense for like an accounting or business program. So this has not been approved by the dean. This is just a mock-up showing what that could look like or what we're sharing. And so I'm presenting this around campus in the next few weeks. Out of home example. So you'll see these. This is, I have a photo actually that I took this weekend. So this is actually up and we have a few billboards here near Cal State Northridge, but also within a 10-mile radius as we're trying to target certain pockets So we're really excited about this. Here's some more examples. And you'll just see us flexing, right? In a way we've never flexed before. The university in the past would promote sort of our alumni, but now we want to celebrate our students, all of the different students, all of the different faces, all of the different aesthetics, and we're really excited to show that in many different ways. And you could see that quilt pattern sort of like shifting, but still remaining consistent in many ways. So I'm really excited about that. Or driving traffic to the homepage. We've reworked the whole university homepage, and I'm sure some of you have noticed over the last year it changed. And so it's to target prospective students. We know that that is the biggest goal for the university in the next couple of years, is getting more students to attend here at CSUN. So really excited about this. All right, thank you for your time. If we could go to the next presentation, please. I'll go over this real quick and then I'll take any questions. All right, so I'm going to skip through this, these components. You can read the narrative later if you'd like, and then share any feedback or thoughts with me directly. All right, more key values. So we're really tying this into the roadmap of the university. Some of you know that we have a strategic plan for the university where we're trying to align everything with that, including the new brand for the university. And that's really about our new president, right? And her vision for a brighter campus. And that's how we're doing, showing that with the different colors, the different patterns, and really showing that aspect of the CSUN brand. All right. We talked about the logo. So the logo itself will not change again. So if you have letterhead or things with the full lockup, those are not changing. We're not changing business cards, those kinds of things. So the logo is not changing. We do have that special case use that I talked about. We still have the same grid system for the logo. Still not messing with the logo, putting things on top of the logo and doing those things with the logo. Our school colors have not changed. And that'll be a hill I'll die on. So earlier we were talking about politics. Like this would be something I would literally die on that hill. Our color is a hero red. And then our second color is white. And so there's some confusion sometimes about that black. That's a third level color. And so it's really important to keep more on the lighter shade of CSUN. And that's really important. We have our tertiary colors, which I'm excited to celebrate and sort of unlock for the campus. We also have the addition of a sustainable campus green. And so we want to celebrate the different areas of campus by showing the different colors and showing the different aspects, and really excited about how this could be flexed across campus. All right. Here's some examples of color usage. And so for most times we still want to use our hero red and make sure that's highly visible. Want to make sure that contrast is correct and we don't run into accessibility issues where you can't read the headline because the background is so busy, right? Typography, we have an addition of a new font called Formula, and that'll be mainly used for the external world. Our main campus font is still ATC Overlook. And obviously for associate students, university student union, other areas on campus like the Soraya, it might make sense to use other fonts. So that's will continue being up to the discretion of your leadership and the Senate here. We're still using Georgia. Everybody has Georgia on their computers, and so that's an important font for the university. And then Atkinson is the new university font for all emails, and this is because of its accessibility. And so any emails you receive from the university, whether that's an emergency email, email from the president, anything in between, will be using Atkinson specifically. Probably too much detail, so I'm going to continue speeding through this. Some example headlines here, some body copy style examples. We have these graphic devices as well, and looking forward to the campus contributing to these devices. Here's some examples of it in color, some color patterns and combinations, more examples in practice, some examples of things we don't want to do it in terms of like overlapping that bottom left where, you know, we're overlapping the headline with these crazy patterns and it gets too distracting. We really want to still have the headline highly visible. So that concludes my presentation. If any of you have any concerns or feedback and you want to meet with me directly or talk to me directly, excited to do that. We are still using the Matador for the university. And so if there's any questions about that, that statue, I was on that committee to help build that statue. And so I'm very proud about the Matador, and we'll continue supporting the Matador and collaborating with athletics in that way. So any questions, concerns, thoughts? Yes. Or sorry.
No, it's okay. I just had a quick question. Do you happen to know where the billboards are located?
I have a full list and I
Okay.
can email it to Kevin, and then yeah, they could share
That
that.
would be great. Thank you.
Go for it, Senator Tybee.
I thought it was all fantastic. It looked really cool, and I love the amount of detail and like things to avoid, and that was extremely thought out. My question is if student organizations, or even like the Sundial, for example, are allowed to use these kinds of like templates of these, or if this is something that only the CSUN administration will be using.
We'll have it available for download on csun.edu/identity, and so any campus partner can use these graphics. When it comes to student clubs and organizations, we rely on our partners here at the MIC and areas like the Associated Students to sort of like collaborate and figure out what's the best use for students. And that way, you're not looking for my permission to use a CSUN logo. And so the CSUN logo is trademark and it's licensable. And so if you use it on a sweatshirt, probably the vendor will email me. So, but that's kind of a different question of what you're asking.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Senator Saravia.
Hi, I wanted to ask if you have any like specific areas you're trying to target. I know you had mentioned that you're trying to have some posters up at Hollywood Boulevard. Is that going to be located near Hollywood High School? Are there specific like areas with actual high schools that you're trying to target?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question. So those examples I shared, those pasties on Hollywood Boulevard, they're just examples. So they don't actually exist and we'll never put them, not never, but we don't have any plans to put them on Hollywood Boulevard. So we do have, so I work for University Relations and Advancement. And so our primary target is related to our alumni and to our donors in terms of our external advertising. Sorry. And then we partner with enrollment and recruitment services, and then they have specific targets for recruiting of students. And so we partner with a firm called EAB. And that's basically, we started this new partnership in order to better target prospective students at all the high schools in the local area. And this you won't see this aesthetic targeting prospective students until fall or spring 2025. So I'm sharing this way ahead of time. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Well, I have to say, I'm not a marketing major, but this is so incredible. And I'm kind of sad I'm leaving CSUN this year because this is such amazing work. I'm so excited to see this actually in spaces. So thank you so much for being here. Really,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator.
you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, our next presentation is from me, so I'm gonna go head up there real quick. Hey, hello, everyone. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna go over, this is an assembly bill, 928, AB 928. And I'm gonna just kind of give a quick overview. And the reason why I'm doing this today is because we're hoping to write a resolution on behalf of AS, either in support or against this assembly bill. And before we obviously write the resolution and approve it, I want you all to know what it's about and get some background information. So when external works on it, you understand. I don't know. Thank you, Madeline. I appreciate it. So what is AB 928? This is also known as the Student Transfer Achievement Reform Act, which creates one singular low division general education pattern for both the Cal State University system and the University of California transfer admissions. So I'll obviously explain. So essentially, when you're in community college, you'll be just taking general GEs, and it applies to both CSU and UC when you transfer. So it's not like, oh, I want to apply to UCLA, so I need to take these extra courses, but I want to apply to CSUN, so I have to take these certain courses. So it's just one single pathway for all community college students. So when they transfer to either, or when they apply to either CSU or UC, all the requirements will be met regardless of which system they decide to go down. Perfect. Just some more kind of background information. AB 928 combines two existing general education pathways for California community college students into a single pathway to either the CSU or UC system. So just kind of like I was saying earlier. And then an important thing to note too is the Board of Trustees for the CSU will determine if the CSU will adopt, it's called CalGETC, so this is the new, and you'll see soon, but CalGETC is the new GE pathway, as its single GE pattern, for everyone. So that means incoming freshmen and transfer students, or if it will just continue to offer what they currently offer for incoming freshmen. And you'll see soon kind of the differences. So what you all, if you all either transferred into CSUN or you started as a freshman, you all went through the CSU GE Breath. So just a couple things to highlight that are different from the new one that they have established. You obviously have to take a physical or life science class. And that lab that you had to take with either one of those classes was included in the unit. So for example, if I took Biology 101, that was 2 units, and then the lab was an additional 1 unit. So that's a total of 3 units for the class as well as the lab. On the other side though, for CalGETC, the class itself would be 3 units and the lab would be 1 additional unit. So again, I take Biology 101, let's say, that's 3 units, and the lab is an additional 1 unit for a total of 4 units. For the current CSU GE Breath program, it would maintain 3 courses in relation to arts and humanities. So right now, GEs, you have to take 1 art class, 1 humanities class, and then a 3rd class that you can either choose from art or humanities. That's your decision. But for the new GE pathway, it would remove that extra 3rd class and you would just take 1 art class and 1 humanities class, and that's it for that section. And the last kind of difference is that for the current CSU GE Breath that we all know and kind of went through ourselves, it would keep the lifelong learning and self-development course section. I think that's section F, and that's where a lot of like the U100 classes would fit in. So if we took a U100 class, it would fit in that category. And for the new pathway, it would completely remove that section. So as you can tell, 1 would be 39 units and 1 would be 34 units. And those extra 5 units that are just, they're not gone. It's up to the campus. It's going to be up to each CSU campus to determine what they want to do with those extra 5 units. So whether they want to keep it at the humanities or they want to put it into science, or they want to put it into another lifelong learning, that's going to be up to each CSU campus. So here's a little, it might be hard to see, but here's a little bit of an overview of what, so you can see the breakdown. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities with like English and, you know, social and behavioral sciences, and of course, math, but it's those other small little changes that will be made. So before we kind of go into any type of discussion or questions you may have, the CalGETC, so the one you see on the right-hand side, the 34 unit one, that one is actually going to be currently put into place in fall 2025 for all transfer students. So that was already voted on, that was already approved. Fall 2025, all transfer students will have to fulfill those requirements. What we're talking about today is if we want to also move to the right side for all incoming freshmen, or do you want to leave it at what we currently have, which is the 39 units with the extra arts/humanities class and the lifelong learning and self-development course. So that's really what they're kind of going back and forth right now. Obviously, there's definitely pros and cons to both sides, but I wanted to hear y'all's opinions before we wrote a resolution on anything to support implementing the assembly bill for incoming freshmen or oppose that. So that's it. The next slide is just for discussion, but we can leave up the other side if you want, just so they can kind of see the differences. So yeah, I want to hear everyone's thoughts or even questions too.
So I have a question regarding the college GTC. I know that the life sciences are 3 units on both sides, and what's it called? The laboratory, it's also a 1+ unit, which will be 4 in total. Is there any different of difficulty between those things?
Yeah, so from my understanding, just from through my own kind of research, having like a 2 versus 3 unit course is based on credit hours. So how much time you're in the classroom, how much work you're given outside of the class, like homework and stuff like that, or time for, you know, reading, that kind of stuff. So I'm assuming that it would be a little bit more because it is worth more units. on the side, on the right side for Cal Getsy, because it is 3 units versus having 2 units just for the class and 1 for the additional lab.
What I will say about that is that I feel like a lot of GE people who are taking a science class might not be wanting to take 4-unit class. I feel like that's something that a lot of STEM majors do. So I feel like it will be kind of intimidating if that will be like an added unit. Right now, the STEM majors, we don't like the 1-unit class because it's actually not worth 1-unit class. It's like probably like 6 hours a week of a just 1-unit lab. So I feel like it will be kind of tough on GE people who are taking this.
Thank you. Yes, go for it.
I definitely don't agree that they should take out lifelong learning and self-development. I feel like U100 courses are extremely important to upcoming freshmen. It's how they learn what's available on campus and how they are practically forced to educate themselves on what they can use on campus. Had I not taken a U100, as I'm a sophomore, so I took a U100 course like last year. And had I not taken that course, I wouldn't have known about associated students, about the tutoring that I have to, that is available on campus. I wouldn't have known about the writing labs on campus as well, the counseling, the cult center. I wouldn't have known about any of that had I not taken the U100. I feel like that's mainly because students just don't really have the time or don't really want to research all of the things that are available on campus. So U100 courses are definitely extremely important so that students are aware of where their tuition is going, where their extra fees are going, where all the money that the Cal States get, sorry, where all the money that Cal States do receive, where it goes and how they can benefit from it. So I definitely think that having the breadth is definitely will definitely have a better impact on our upcoming freshmen.
Yeah, and just to touch on your point, that's definitely a point that a lot of people are making, especially just trying to ensure that we're in maintaining the retention levels, and that class could be like a factor into how we're going to retain students. Yes, Senator Khan.
I definitely agree with you. I'm a transfer student, so I did the iGETSI and the Cal State transfer program because this wasn't a thing at the time. And it was quite difficult to get 2 done. So it's very nice that we're switching over to a one-step model for transfers. However, for campus, I agree with like lifelong learning and self-development being crucial. Once again, as a transfer student, I didn't get that. So it took me a while to like integrate and whatnot. I do think they should keep that. However, I think that the overall Cal Getsy model should be implemented. And as you mentioned, it's up to the campus's discretion on which units they want to keep for fulfilling that 39 unit, like the mandatory 39 units. So I think the university itself should keep lifelong learning. However, the overall model should be the Cal Getsy for general education.
Thank you. Yes.
I also like to point out that first-time freshmen don't have any type of experience in college, like unlike transfer students. They have some type of college knowing, they have some type of knowledge as to what these resources might look like, or even get to know what it means to do a lot of more independency. Whereas first-time freshmen, they're like, I just got out of high school, or maybe they're starting college for the first time, maybe they took a break, right? So they do need that lifelong learning practice in there. So I also agree with what everyone else is mentioning. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Chair of Finance.
Awesome. Hi, Paige. Thanks for that presentation. I agree with Iman in that, like, I like how it's a one-step process under the Cal Getsy thing. However, I am a little bit scared about like losing the humanities. Within CSU breadth, a lot of times students are like, oh, why am I taking this humanities course? It's like, it's holding me back. It doesn't do anything, but really, I think the humanities courses build such a foundation and like the human experience and understanding for students, and critical thinking and all these things. And I think that's like the point of college, is you know, to explore those things a bit more. And so if we transfer to Cal GETC, and I know that each CSU has like their own agency in determining which course they would want. I know there's been like a larger shift from humanities into English and like more, I guess, like less tangible courses and majors into more STEM-based things. I would really hate to see like students lose taking those humanities courses. So I would really want like this each CSU to still try to retain something along those lines.
Yes.
Just to add to Yvette's point too, just so it's known, Section E is not just university, it's like a wide breadth of courses. And that's just something to think about when it comes to like lecturers, faculty, and, you know, like Yvette said, humanities students. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, exactly. Lifelong learning does not just encompass U100. I just know that a lot of students, that class is the common class that a lot of students fit into that category. Just because it's like, okay, let's learn about CISA and the resources. And it's just, people kind of see it as like an easy class. I can like kind of get my feet wet going into college and understand what is available to me, especially since they're coming right out of high school, typically. Yes, Senator Khan.
Hi. Yvette brought up a really interesting point of taking away the extra humanities or art course that would be required. I think I currently work at 3 high schools as a college advisor. And one of their biggest concerns when choosing community or Cal State or UC, whatnot, is the differences in each general education requirement. They get so concerned and they see all the requirements, and they're all different right now for each like school, what is it called? School system. So I think that universalizing it will make that decision for high schoolers a lot more easy, because it's not like, oh, well, if I choose this school, then I'm going to have to do these requirements. Like, it's just totally universal, and it's not a big concern to them of like, oh, well, I have to do this general education if I go here, whereas if I go here, I don't have to do this general education.
Yeah, that's a really good point and a very unique perspective that you bring. So thank you. Yes, Senator Kaddish.
Just a question. So for the 5 additional units, is there a chance that instead of going towards GEs, that becomes major coursework required?
Yeah, that's a really good question because at our recent discussion we had up at CSSA, that's where you obviously have all of the campuses there. An individual from SLO mentioned that her major requires a lot more units than a typical major. So she said, I would love Cal GETC to be able to put those extra 5 units towards my major. As of right now, I'm not sure how that would go. Don't know those extra 5 units if they could say, okay, the campus can decide, and that trickles down to colleges where, okay, this college, you can have it as your major. I don't necessarily think that it would go towards major requirements, just like you can take major classes, if that makes sense. Like, oh, if you're gonna take a psych elective, if I'm like a psych major, I don't think it would necessarily go towards like requirements for your major. Yes.
I just want to add 2 things. So I agree with what the previous senator was saying. I think I've worked at the California Community College system for a long time, and one of the biggest challenges is that students may have one idea of a school that they want to go to, but then something happens, and then they find themselves having to kind of restart their general education so that they can be able to transfer. So it can be very challenging for students to kind of maneuver between the different systems. So I think having a universal standard education curriculum, whatever it's called, it could be more beneficial and help students transfer more seamlessly. I know that's a goal between the community colleges and the 4 years. I would also encourage you all to just reach out to constituents in your colleges who are transfer students and get those different perspectives, because I think the average transfer student age or community college student age is like 24, 25, right? So it's understanding how people in different points in their life, you know, how having the different curriculums can impact them. So I think making sure you all are talking to your constituents who have transferred from a California community college would also help provide you all with more perspective.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. Obviously, yeah, this is just a small group of students, but actually going out to students who went through the process is much more important. And we'll be definitely working on that before we finalize a resolution at all here in Senate. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Senator Kaddish.
I guess I just wanted to say I have very mixed feelings towards GETC. That's not what it's called. Yeah, GETC. So firstly, just going down, I very much dislike the change to the laboratory requirement for the reason being that most colleges currently have usually 2-unit classes plus a laboratory unit that covers the current plan for 3 units. So I have a feeling that colleges won't adjust this fast to include that additional unit. So that means students will probably have to take an additional science course that probably covers 3 units. The other issue with that is for unit requirements, it might make it a little bit trickier because of that additional unit, because it tends to come in intervals of 3, so that's a 4th unit. But then going further down for the arts and humanities, I had the same thought that it might be an issue just to remove that as a requirement because I think the humanities and arts are very beneficial to have as a requirement. I might be a little biased. But that being said, I could also see that arts and humanities might be enough, and for STEM-based majors, it could be more beneficial to them in order to reallocate that towards their major area. As for lifelong learning and self-development, I'm actually going to take a kind of different thought behind this because I didn't take University 100. I actually don't think it's that necessary, of course, having not taken it. I mean, I didn't take it, so I don't know. I might be biased on that, but personally, I find that students are able to find their way around campus pretty easily, and I think being able to substitute that might be able to benefit students, especially if their major does require more coursework. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you definitely bring another unique perspective. Again, this is so important because obviously you all are in different majors, different colleges, and so your requirements are different and it's going to look very different to you and your perspective. So yeah, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes. Granted. I feel weird granting people from here. Yes, Golden.
My one question is is UC also planning on implementing CalGETS for incoming freshmen, or would this just be a CSU change?
That's a really good question I actually don't want to answer that question because I'm not for sure. I can research that and let you all know by the end of the Senate meeting. I think they already have this for incoming freshmen, but I'm not entirely for sure. So don't quote me on that. I will look that up and let you all know. Thank you.
My question is this going to be implemented in fall 2024, or can every CSU campus change like the requirements for freshmen?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the transfer requirements, so on the right, those have already been approved for transfer students, and that will be implemented fall 2025. As of for incoming freshmen, there's no set date because they haven't technically voted on it yet, the Board of Trustees. So I'm not entirely for sure what kind of date they would choose to implement that for incoming freshmen. But it should be a whole CSU-wide thing. It wouldn't be like CSUN starts fall 2024 and Channel Island starts fall 2025. It would be an entire CSU implementation the same year and semester. Questions? Alrighty, if there's none, this was really, really good discussion. I so appreciate you all participating. And obviously I'm sure external will take that back to their committee to figure out something on what they think is the best. And obviously, again, it will come to Senate, so you can share more opinions then. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. Alrighty, hi. sorry you have to hear me talk more, but I promise after my report it will be over. Alrighty, so we're moving on to reports, starting with mine. What? I completely just skipped open forum. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Open forum is intended as an opportunity for any member of the public to address the Associate Student Senate regarding any issues affecting CSUN students. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each to speak. Please sign in using the clipboard for minute recording purposes. And I do really apologize for missing open forum. I did that on purpose, obviously, because James came. Oy.
It's funny, I made the same joke back there to them. I was like, wow, she doesn't want to hear from me today. All right, so be it. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is James Forster. I serve as the AS Programs Manager. I'm here to just give you all a little snapshot of some of our events that are coming up. So this week we will have our farmers market will be back. There's no rain in the forecast, so we're excited that that'll be back, as it was canceled last week due to the rain. I believe people will be out there to talk about some Kindness Week stuff, but I will let you talk about that later. Additionally, this week we will be hosting Heartstrings Hangout on Valentine's Day, which is this upcoming Wednesday. So we'll be out over on Sierra Lawn, the north side of the lawn, from 10 to 2 p.m. We'll be having some roses there, some like Valentine's Day gram, station making, things like that. It's all geared towards as well that you can create something for someone in your life that you love. It doesn't necessarily have to be a significant other. Could be a friend, could be a family member, could be your pet if you wanted to. Although I don't recommend giving your pet candy. So that's up to you though. But those are some of our events for this week. And then next week, our farmers market, once again, assuming the weather's all good, will be our first refill and repair market. So if you have clothing items or bags that you need to get repaired, feel free to bring it to the market next week. Or additionally, you can bring in jars or containers to get, free soap, shampoos, conditioners, things like that to use around your apartments and homes. So that's just kind of a snapshot of the next 2 weeks. And then as always, constant reminder, big show, Saturday, April 6th, Steve Aoki will be our headliner. We are taking submissions for anyone who is looking to be our opener for the show. So if you all have a secret skill of being an awesome DJ or singer, please feel free to check out our Instagram to submit information to sign up to possibly perform. And yeah, if anyone has any questions about any of those things, feel free to seek me out. But thank you all so much.
Thank you again, James. And did you get Kevin's submission for the opener? I think he's gonna.
Yeah, he's gonna do like a tap dance number and DJ at the same time. I'm really excited.
That's
for it.
amazing.
So-
Yeah, really looking forward to that. April 6th, everyone. Be there, be square. Is anyone else here for open forum? Alrighty, looks like it was just James then. Awesome. Thank you, James, for sharing that. And yes, April 6th, you can buy your tickets at the ticket office or online. So very, very exciting. Alrighty, we'll move on to reports, starting with mine. I feel like we have a lot to report on just because we haven't met in 2 weeks, but I'll try to make it kind of brief. Well, I'm glad everyone's here today, and I was able to enjoy a yummy breakfast burrito, and hopefully everyone stayed safe in the rain. I'm grateful that it's over and we're having some sunshine now, so that's awesome. Let's see. Welcome Week was a success. It was so awesome to see all of our students out there. I really want to thank Ariana and Daniel and James and the productions team, and Denise for helping us all set up and take everything down. It was just such a great, I was going to say first/second week back. I don't really know what you want to call it, but it was so exciting to see our students back on campus and just kind of gain all the swag and just feeling welcomed and supported. So really, really awesome. Along with that week, we had Mental Health Monday, the kickoff. So that was really awesome. We received a lot of really good feedback. A lot of students are asking me, is this going to be here every Monday? Is this going to be like, what are the activities coming up? So really, really good feedback. So I've been working with James and Denise to kind of have a set calendar of events that are coming up. And I'll be sharing that with you all very, very soon. Super, super excited. Update on Patrick's position for the Search and Screen Committee. The application period has officially closed. You missed the deadline, Josie, so sorry. But she's actually screening for minimum requirements or qualifications, our vice president, and then Once that's completed, they'll be off to the rest of the committee to rank the individuals, and we'll go from there. Definitely it's a process, but I'll have updates for you every week as always. Vice President Anderson and I met with Dr. Watkins, and then we also met with Dr. Watkins and Dr. Beck the week later. Always such good, fruitful discussion. Always appreciate those meetings and their support. And I'll just kind of touch over a few things that we discussed in those meetings. So we went over the Black Student Success Initiative. I always cannot say that fully. I really apologize. So there was an initiative released by the CSU system as a whole that addressed, retention and graduation rates of our Black students. However, Dr. Beck had actually released her own initiative, I should say, before the CSU did, to really understand the experience of our Black students on campus. And so with that, they hired a consulting group to come to campus, and they've been conducting a lot of research and gathering a lot of data via surveys and discussions and analyzing our on-campus programming and events to compile a report for the university. The report will be hopefully released by the end of February or early March, and that will cover kind of what CSUN is really succeeding in, maybe what they need to improve on, and recommendations on what the campus do to improve the experience of our Black students. And of course, when the report is officially released, I will be sure to share it with you all and the campus community. We have hopefully a plan to have like a little town hall with the consulting group to invite students to come to this little presentation to understand what the report entails. Obviously, when the report is released, we'll let you know more about that. So that's really, really exciting, and looking forward to that release. We also discussed some financial aid. As you all know, FAFSA hasn't been, actually Dr. Watkins shared a really good point, it hasn't been changed since the Reagan administration, that FAFSA form. So it's been some time. So given that obviously there's going to be some technical difficulties and certain things that are just not always going to go well, they don't have a solution quite yet for a lot of students who have a mixed family status, but it's important to note too that regardless if you're in that category, it's not working for a lot of students just technically. So the obviously the priority deadline to submit your FAFSA form was pushed back to April 2nd. And a lot of universities are considering pushing back the commitment deadline to June 1st. Obviously, nationally, typically it's May 1st. That's kind of like college commitment day. I know CSUN is pretty much considering and actually going to be pushing back the commitment deadline to June 1st to allow students to really understand what kind of aid they're receiving before they make that decision. So it's really, really awesome for our students, whether they're currently enrolled in, next year or they're, going to be enrolling in CSUN. So really nice to know that we are supporting them and ensuring that they understand their aid before they, again, make that decision. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Obviously, FAFSA, it's crazy, but it hopefully will be eventually a smoother process for a lot of students once the little glitches are kind of fixed and everything. I also attended the Academic Technology Committee meeting last week. Lots of fun things to report on. I'm going to be kind of brief with this, but just a couple things that I wanted to share with you all. Really exciting. If you all know Maple Hall, which is like the Sierra Annex, is that what it's called? Next to Sierra Hall, that will be opening up early March. So super exciting. There are 183 classrooms in that building. So a lot of classrooms that are currently in Sierra Hall will probably transfer over to Sierra Annex or Maple Hall. So just be on the lookout for that if one of your classes will transfer over to Maple Hall. I haven't even been inside, but just from the pictures I've seen, it looks like such a beautiful space. And so really looking forward to that little ribbon cutting ceremony. So yeah, really exciting. Another thing is the device loaner program that CSUN has on their campus where they can lend out, iPads and laptops and hotspots and all that kind of stuff. Currently, all of the laptops, iPads, and hotspots are all checked out. But it's important to note too that we were able to have that program because of the HERF funding, which was the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund. So funds that a lot of campuses and universities received due to COVID. So they technically don't really have any more of that continual funding to keep that program continuing. So they are on the hunt for that kind of funding to ensure that we're able to keep that program available for students for years and years to come, and not just for that kind of pandemic period. So hopefully they'll find something, and I'll be able to report back to you all with their source of funding for the program, because it definitely is utilized by a lot of our students. So yeah. A couple really cool things is, if you all know about LinkedIn Learning, where you can earn little badges there on your LinkedIn page, it's now integrated with Canvas. So faculty or professors can assign Canvas assignments through LinkedIn. You can complete them on LinkedIn, get class credit, and get a little LinkedIn certification or badge. So that's really, really exciting for our faculty and students. Also, what's really cool is there's going to be, everyone will be added to a Canvas page for CSUN technological resources. So that's kind of just a one-stop shop for everyone to be able to go to and look at, what's available, what, the Device Learner program, other things that are available to all of our students, whether that be like Adobe, Microsoft Word, all that kind of stuff. That's really cool because it was kind of something that came out of a lot of conversations that I was having on the academic technology committee, just saying that, you have a lot of resources, but a lot of students don't know about it or aren't going to utilize those resources. So it'd be all right there on a Canvas page. It's something that already gains a lot of foot traffic for our students. So that's really, really exciting. And obviously they'll be able to update it real time. So students are just constantly seeing new information being released on their Canvas page. A couple more things for the ATC meeting. There's a lot that they went over for projects for the spring. What's really cool is, I don't know if you ever have been or like left CSUN's campus to go to another CSU, another UC, anything, but the Wi-Fi can often be a little bit wonky, that transition from leaving CSUN to go to another CSU. So they're working on having a smoother transition where you don't have to log out and log back in. It just automatically, that's what it should be doing, but sometimes it can be a little weird. So they are working on that to just ensure that the minute you step it off CSUN's campus and let's say go to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, it will automatically be logged in and you don't have to do anything. So that's really cool. April 6th, say goodbye to the original portal. I'm really sorry, everyone, but they will be closing down the original CSUN portal to just stick with the new one. So now is a good time to get adjusted to the new one if you haven't kind of gone adjusted to the new one yet, because that one will be taken down on April 6th. So heads up. And then my last thing for ATC is the My CSUN Digital Access or CSUN Ready, that program where a lot of times you can access your textbooks online. That is actually really, really an awesome program. I even, made a comment during the meeting saying I had a class that, it was significantly cheaper to stick with the CSUN Ready program than to even find an ebook online or purchase. I mean, I'm old school and like a hard copy, but I'll stick with the $40 and spending $200 on a textbook that I probably won't look at again, to be honest. So definitely a very, very affordable option for students. It is currently $17.50 per credit hour. So essentially like per unit. So if you take a 3-unit class, $17.50 times 3, I can't do math, but that will be the price. And that's really exciting for our students because again, it's like significantly cheaper than a lot of options outside of campus. But also if you do want to opt out, the opt out is extremely simple, which is really awesome for students. You just press the button and you're literally done. So I did it this semester and it was so simple. And you can obviously opt back in if you would like to within a certain period, so that you have that option if you maybe couldn't find a textbook cheaper or decided you really need that textbook. So that's really cool. I also attended the TUC Executive Committee meeting. They discussed some of the real estate that they've been purchasing and faculty housing that they will be developing kind of across the street on Halsted, which is really exciting. So if you want more information, I can give you more information about that. So yeah. And then we also kind of just went over as an information item, wages for our student employees, because I know we worked on kind of that with Golden and Nick on the TUC student employee wages. They just kind of went over that as well. One last thing, I was able to attend the Glen Omatsu House this past week with our Chair of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Ali Walker, for the Asian Pacific Islander and Desi American Welcome. That was really awesome. It's so cool for students to be able to be in a space that they feel supported in. They had food there and a lot of awesome resources for our students. So really, really exciting. And there's actually really good turnout. So that was awesome. I hope we all enjoyed the Super Bowl. I hope your team won. I had something funny, really funny happen to me yesterday I have to share. So I was at like a garden yesterday with someone and this couple came up to me and was like, we're filming something. And I'm like, okay, like I'll leave. Like, it's totally fine. Not a big deal. And they're like, no, we want you to film it. And I'm like, what am I filming? And they're like, our gender reveal. So I legit had to film their gender reveal and it's a girl. So very excited for them. They already have a boy. So they're having a girl, very, very exciting, but they had those like cans with the like that blow the pink, and I was like, I'm not about to be part of a natural disaster. Like, no way am I going to start a fire. I'm leaving the minute I'm done filming because I don't want to be seen with this. But it was really exciting. They're having a girl and she was very, very excited. So yeah, and yes, very exciting. So it's a girl. Yay, we love that for them. But yeah, any questions on my report? That was a very surreal moment. Was not expecting that at all. Yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
Not a question, but a point of personal privilege.
Granted. Any further questions, comments? Alrighty, seeing none, we'll turn it over to our Vice President Anderson for her report.
Hello, everyone. Okay, I'll probably have a pretty short report. And I lost my voice a little bit, so it's good that I'll limit my talking. But Paige covered a lot of what I was going to talk about, but it is Kindness Week. Thank you to everyone who came early. We had, I think all of the burritos are gone now, so that's great. We gave a lot of people a free breakfast. Tomorrow we'll be at the farmer's market. It'll be pretty straightforward. We'll just be tabling, and we have some cute little self-love Valentines that we'll be giving out. So if you signed up, please make sure you show up to your shift. If you end up having something come up, please let me know so we can get that sorted out. And then on Wednesday, we'll be at the Heartstrings Hangout with Productions. And then on Thursday, we'll be doing mobile card giveaways. So if you haven't signed up, please put yourself on there. It can fulfill your office hours, so that's nice. Also, what else do I have? The CSUN App Jam. I don't know if I've already talked about this before, but Paige and I will be emceeing the CSUN App Jam. Super exciting. So it's on March 6th. I believe it's from 12 to 1. So we would love for you to all come out and support. And honestly, I think that's pretty much it. Pretty slow week last week with the storm. Hope everyone is okay. It was a little bit scary, but glad that it's passed. If you have any questions about Kindness Week, feel free to reach out to me and have a good week.
Alrighty, thank you. Are there any questions on Vice President Anderson's report? All right, seeing none, I don't want to cut you off, Sam, but we do have to move over to our special meeting agenda at 10 a.m. So yes, once that's pulled up, awesome. Thank you, Madeline. I will go ahead and call this meeting to order at 10:01 a.m. and turn it over to our Attorney General for the roll call.
Vice President Anderson, Senator Bobnagree, Senator Chavez, Senator Doe, Senator Dunn, Senator Kaddish, Senator Iman Khan, Senator Awais Khan, Senator Mezabin, Senator Radionov, Senator Sarkeesian, Senator Saravia, Senator Scher, Senator Tybee, Senator Toledo Carranza, Senator Tran. We just make sure that it is a quorum. We have a quorum.
Exciting, awesome. Alrighty, we'll now go to move on to the approval of the agenda for today's special meeting. Is there a motion? Senator Saravia.
I move to approve the agenda for February 12th, 2024.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Khan, thank you. Is there any discussion? Right, see no discussion, the motion passes unanimously. We'll go on to open forum. Open forum is intended as an opportunity for any member of the public to address the Associated Student Senate regarding any issues affecting CSUN students. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each to speak. Please sign in using the clipboard for minute recording purposes. Don't think, James, sit down, just kidding. Don't think there's anyone here for open forum, but we will go on to new business. We do have to enter the committee of the whole. So is there a motion to enter committee of the whole? Senator Dunn. Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Tybee, thank you. Is there any discussion? See no discussion, the motion passes unanimously. Alrighty. We do have a supplemental funding request from the Black Student Union seeking $1,500 for speakers for a mental health workshop. Chair Finance, would you like to go over this?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I've agendized this item, the supplemental budget request from the Black Student Union. They want to host a one-day event for a guest speaker to celebrate Black History Month. And given that we didn't meet for finance last week because of the rain, I've moved it to Senate so we can just action it now so then they can have this event prior to the month ending. So yes, so they're seeking $1,500. They want to host a mental health workshop open to all students on campus. And they're looking to book an award-winning author and renowned speaker from Atlanta to come and share her expertise in the workshop. It's a one-day event held on campus, and they want to accommodate her flight and lodging as well. So they're seeking $1,500 for guest speaker fees, which could include lodging and flight and just fees in general. We can go up to $600 as per the Code on Finance. But when it comes to the room rentals, I was hoping to gauge Senate's perspective on how much we should fund them for the rooms. They didn't necessarily specify, and I did reach out to them, and I'm waiting a response. And I just want to correct what I said. I said $600 for guest speaker fees. It's actually $400. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Yvette. Yes, Senator Toledo.
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. Thank you so much. Alrighty, so thank you, Chair of Finance, for that kind of rundown for us. Is there a motion to approve item 1? Senator Kaddish, did you have a question?
Well, I was just curious as to how many people they were expecting for the event.
I'm currently not sure, but as per VPN, we can't fund based on like how many people will attend the event. So even if the event has 20 people or if it has 200 people, we have to fund it still pretty objectively. Patrick mentioned something to me about they're receiving funding for this program. He just forwarded me an email, so I'm going to read this and I'll provide an update shortly.
Thank you for that question. Is there a motion? Senator Tyvius.
I'll just say a motion on, so we can move to discussion, but I move to fund this line item $800 from unassigned contingency, 400 being for guest speakers and 400 being for the room rental.
Patrick forwarded me an email saying that they're funded by both the USU and they're receiving funding from UCS as well, the amounts of which I'm not sure how much though.
Alrighty, so you're more welcome to make an amendment if you would like, instead of a motion. To amend the request that's being asked for to $800 instead of $1,500.
Oh, I see. Okay, I move to amend the line item to be $800, 400 for guest speakers and 400 for a room rental.
So can you repeat that? I'm so sorry.
I move to amend the line item to allocate Black Student Union $800 for their mental health workshop.
Alrighty, thank you. Is there a second? Senator Stravia, thank you. Is there any discussion to that amendment? Great, see none, all those. Oh, sorry, I missed your hand. I'm so sorry.
I mean, do we think that the $800 will be enough to cover the room and lodging for this guest speaker? Because it looks like that's something that they're interested in doing.
Go for it, Chair of Finance.
Yeah, so $400 is the max we can give towards any one guest speaker. So even if it might be more than $400, AS just provides like supplementary funding for these things. So $400 is all we can cap it at. I think the amount proposed is at $800 is pretty fair, given that they're receiving funding from the USU and University Counseling Services too. And just to provide some more context to this one-day event, they're going to be hosting like a meet and greet at the Black House, but the main presentation will be hosted in the Northridge Center. And that's the event we will be funding.
Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving to amend the amount from $1,500 to $800, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstained? Great, the motion passes. We will now go ahead. We will now go ahead and approve the motion as amended. Okay. So now we are going to approve the motion as amended. So the Black Student Union will be receiving $800 for speakers for a mental health workshop. Is there a motion? Senator Tybee.
I move to fund the Black Student Union, or sorry, I move to approve line item I
As amended.
as amended.
Perfect. Awesome. Is there a second? Senator Scher, thank you. Is there any discussion? Great. See no discussion. All those in favor of approving line item I as amended, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstained? Great. The motion passes. Alrighty. So we are now going to exit the committee of the whole. Is there a motion to exit the committee of the whole? Senator Saravia.
I move to exit committee of the whole.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Dunn, thank you. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. We'll now go ahead and move to approve the recommendations of the committee of the whole. Please raise your hand if you approve the recommendations of the committee of the whole. Any opposed? Any abstained? Great, the motion passes, or the recommendations have been passed, excuse me. We'll now go ahead and turn over to final roll call with our Attorney General.
Vice President Anderson, Senator Bovnagry, Senator Chavez, Senator Doe, Senator Dunn, Senator Kaddish, Senator Iman Khan, Senator Awais Khan, Senator Mezibin, Senator Radionov, Senator Sarkeesian, Senator Saravia, Senator Scher, Senator Tybee, Senator Toledo Carranza, Senator Tran. Thank you.
Thank you to our Attorney General, and I'll now go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 10:12 a.m. and we'll go ahead and go back over to our Senate agenda that we had earlier this morning. Awesome, thank you. And we have left off with reports, and we'll go ahead and turn over to the Chief of Staff for her report.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone had a lovely weekend. Clearly, Paige's weekend was eventful with that gender reveal. Anyway, we all know that last week's Senate meeting was unfortunately canceled, so my Maddie's Closet meeting was rescheduled to today at 3:30. The idea with meeting with Maddie's Closet is to support a student's idea in trying to make some type of thrift store for campus, which is going to be super fun. We already have some type of temporary plans that are occurring right now within AS leadership to support the student's idea. However, we'd like to make it something more concrete, which is why we're meeting with Maddie's Closet today at 3:30 in the AS conference. So if anyone would like to join me, along with Ruby, our Chair of Communications and Personnel, please feel free to do so. We are also trying to establish some AS leadership merch. So hopefully you've already received the email from Josie earlier on last week. Please fill out those forms. Otherwise, we really just want to make sure you guys get your sizes correct. So please do so. We were going to utilize the sizes that were used for Reboot Camp. However, I know that it's now going to be some type of sweatshirt. So please try to adjust your sizes based on what you're comfortable with. For this week's game plan, of course, as mentioned, meetings with Maddie's Closet. We will be doing more discussion within this week. The process for cabinet has now changed from doing reports all the time. So we're doing reports one week, discussion the next week. And every last week of the month, we are also hosting some type of leadership forum to have in our cabinet meetings to constantly sharpen our leadership skills in those meetings. So Aside from that, we have some collaborations that we're doing. I have obviously the search and screen committee with the risk and facilities manager position today at 2 o'clock. Kindness Week is this week, so please sign up if you haven't done so yet. The more participation that we get from student leaders, the more we get from students in general, seeing a familiar face. Aside from that, I'll move on to, oh, sorry, really quickly. Oh, just kidding. I already said that. I was going to talk about CSUN merge, the leadership merge. Moving on to our assistant chair of finance's report. This week, they'll be working on the annual budget and code changes and potentially vote on them in committee. I know they have their meeting today, so looking forward to that. They've also been working with AS Accounting, so shout out to them. They're really awesome to address the student club inquiries and finance code changes as well. Part of the reports that we have now started changing for cabinet is that we allow them to include some type of collaboration to make sure that they give the right shout out to those who deserve recognition. So you're going to be hearing quite some repetition here. But as for the chair of elections, they had their first committee meeting last week. It went very well. They're also ordering merch for giveaways this week or last week, putting together designs for their committee merch. As well as for the events that they're putting out for elections. They will also be planning a webinar version of how to run for AS, so it's more accessible to students. They're also setting out their club competition email by today. So if you are any clubs, please, or even someone, maybe you're involved in them, please feel free to reach out and ask the chair of elections for any clarifications regarding that. They also have their elections meeting this week on Thursday, and filing opens today, February 12th at 8 a.m. So please, if you have any other questions, please reach out to the chair of elections. Other than that, there is no allowed conversations about elections in the office. So keep it individual if you are planning on doing so. And then she also like to shout out her assistant chair of elections, which we'll be hearing her report very soon, and as well as her committee for being awesome, says Nikki. I 100% agree. As for our assistant chair of elections, very similarly, they're getting the street team ready for the elections and marketing started as well. They're finalizing giveaway items, and they're also doing working on running a video that's going to be sent out for the elections as well. And she'd also like to collaborate with the events and committees that they're having for the elections overall. As for our chair of diversity, equity, and inclusion, that's such a long title, but it's necessary. They had their D&I meeting, which was canceled due to the rain, of course, from last week. They're going to be starting back up today. The D&I guide is still in progress, and there's planning on planning stages for the D&I week. So mark your calendars, please, for April 2nd to April 4th. This is when D&I week is planned for. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to Ali. If you have not yet signed up for any cultural welcome events, please do so ASAP. These are also a chance to allow these cultural homes to recognize that AS leadership supports them. And so clearly Ali is going to be working on this individually, but if you'd like to support her in any specific area, please do so as well. We'll move on to our chair of personnel and communications. President's Day is coming just around the corner, February 19th, if I'm not mistaken, right? President's Day? Monday, yes. Alrighty. And so our chair of communications and personnel ordered these really cool pins that she had mentioned earlier. She's also been posting more and more about elections and any committees that are still needing to be filled. Recently submitting eligibility checks for any person who is potentially going to be included to the now AS family. Those were all sent out already. That also includes our eligibility checks to stay in AS. So please, hopefully all of our grades are still up there. Keep going at it academically, please. Other than that, tabling, she has been utilizing her committee to actually help anyone in their events to table as well. So if you need extra hands-on, her committee is very awesome and very generous in their time that they're willing to come table for any other events as well. So please request some help if you need help around there. Aside from that, we'll move on to our Chief Justice Joshua. Her main focus last week and this week will be continuously to address the judicial court code. They will also look forward to tabling for the cultural welcome. So really good to hear that. She would like to shout out our chair of communications, Ruby, that they are working on interviews for judicial court since they have not yet met a quorum in order to officially start their meetings. So applicants were already being received, and so hopefully we'll get a full committee soon. Last but not least, we'll move on to our Chair of Legislative Affairs, Lobby Corps, GCR, CAN Productions. That's all happening last week, and this week is going to be continuing. They're solidifying a big party proposal, which is super funny and super fun. I can't wait to get that started. They're deciding on lawn signs for this election, for primary elections. So hopefully you'll see those around very soon. But they do need to get approval process for that as well. So other than that, she'd like to shout out Paige and Denise for helping figure out the logistics for chess. For all those who applied, we hope to see you there. Chess is going to be an awesome opportunity for advocating for literally what Paige talked about today, and more, so much more. Aside from that, Lobby Corps has been very productive, and I'm so excited that all the cabinet members have so much to report, but they're only going to get longer, so please bear with me for next week. So yeah, that's it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you to our chief of staff. Lengthy reports today, but that's awesome. We haven't obviously met in like 2 weeks. Already, we'll go ahead and turn over to our chair of finance, Tran, for her report.
Hi, everyone. I'll start by sharing account balances. Within STAR, we have $162,294. Unassigned contingencies, $731,845. Clubs and orgs both have $15,000 each. Clubs and orgs and Phil Fund both have $15,000 each, and Clubs and orgs travel has $1,1400. So I think we might actually exhaust this Clubs and orgs travel fund this year. So that's pretty cool. This past week, I had the opportunity to attend University Planning and Budget Group with Senator Dunn. That was really fun. We got to engage and meet, talk to a lot of admin regarding our university's deficit and things of that nature. I also attended the Faculty Library Senate Committee meeting. Our monthly meeting today was how the library handles problematic, bias, and inflammatory material. So we have a pretty hefty collection, or just some collection of like kind of really racist and offensive material. But I like the university's approach in like documenting it and recognizing it and providing context rather than just like kind of dismissing it or just kind of burying it. So that was really awesome to learn about. Finance meets today. We're hoping to kind of finalize our budget and the code today in our Sustainability Center at 12 p.m. This is an open meeting, open to everyone who's interested in attending. We've had a lot of interesting discussion regarding about what's necessary, what's not necessary, and how we want student dollars to be best utilized. So I'm really proud of the work my committee has done. This week, I'm also attending the CSU Committee on Generative AI. If anyone's interested in what goes on in that committee, please talk to me. I love this committee so much. And yeah, I'm really excited for what we have to talk about. And that's all I have to report for today, but thank you for listening.
Thank you to our chair of finance. I do have a question for you. Are those texts on the library floor, or are they back somewhere? And if you want to request them, that you can.
Oh yeah, most of our like archival materials tend to be in like the library, like it's not a basement, but they have like this giant room underground. I believe it's there, or you can access it online.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Alrighty, are there any questions for our chair of finance's report? All right, seeing none, we'll turn it over to our attorney general for his report.
Thank you. So this last week on Friday, I got to attend again the Enrollment Management Council, and similar to what we've heard before is that the enrollment projections are generally good, and we're hitting our targets. So we're also not going to be at any kind of risk of losing funding because of lack of enrollment. So that's just positives on that side. And for the senators, a reminder with office hours, it's really important to clock in and also clock out with the front desk, and also to come at your designated times. If you have anything that makes it so you have to come at a different time, or like a different day, make sure to communicate that in advance so that we can get that approved and also have that planned out. And if you're going to be doing some kind of tabling or something for office hours, it'd also be helpful to send something to the either the leadership front desk email, or even just in person at the front desk, tell them that you're going to be doing something at tabling, so that they also have that in the office hours sign in. And then for committees, we've been having, as all of you know, we've had our first couple weeks of committees, and they've been going really well. I want to give a special shout out to Senator Dunn for the work he's doing in the University Affairs Committee, particularly in using the time where we don't have a lot of referrals to have the committee meet and generate a lot of referrals. So we've seen a lot of referrals that are going to be starting to come out of University Affairs Committee. Even last semester, they had an event which I encourage all the other committees to think about, where they had they brought food and they invited everybody to come to the committee and share things that they might want to change, and that generated tons of ideas for things that they can do in the committee and changes they can make. So for the rest of the committees, definitely encourage you to find ways to use that time to generate more referrals, even if there might not be a lot on your plate right now. And that's all for my report.
Go Senator Dunn. Yes. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and, oh, are there any questions on Golden support? Excuse me. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and turn it over to our standing committee reports, starting with external affairs.
Good morning, everyone. Not much to report today. Didn't have too much happen during external, but we did briefly discuss AB 928, especially in relation to the Faculty Senate resolution that was passed addressing it. But yeah, I would strongly encourage everyone, if they have any ideas for external affairs, for any referrals to be sent our way, then that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions on Senator Kadish's report? Yes, Senator Toledo Kronza.
What was the Faculty Senate report or resolution, sorry?
Basically, there was a Faculty Senate resolution regarding AB 928, and please someone correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially their stance was that they wish that they had more time to figure out what to do for freshmen. So I don't know if they took that much of a strong stance. They just requested that they take time to accurately reflect upon what each campus wants to do. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, to kind of quickly touch on that, for my meeting with the provost with regard to that resolution, they have obviously the Cal GETSI for the transfer students will be implemented in fall 2025, and they're obviously okay with that. But from what Provost Komaraju said, that they are hoping to keep the CSU GE breadth, so the 39 units that you all looked over this morning for incoming freshmen. But that's what they passed, so that's what the provost is hoping for. Obviously AS can take a different stance, and hopefully the presentation today helped you. Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move over to internal affairs. I know you all didn't meet last week, I don't think.
Yes, we didn't meet last week, so we've only met once so far. We are in dire need of legislative referrals, so I'd like to encourage everybody to take a look at their own codes, including all of the chairs. And submit any referrals if there's anything you'd like to be rearranged or amended. But other than that, I hope everybody stays safe. I know there's a lot of people getting sick, so be mindful, very mindful. That's about it.
Thank you, Senator Tybee. Are there any questions on his report? And don't worry, there are 8 legislative referrals I have to assign today, so they're definitely coming in. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and turn over to University Affairs with Senator Dunn.
All right, so University Affairs going stellar. It's been going great. This week we had a special presentation where a boba machine company talked to us, and we're going to look into getting boba machines on campus. So controversial issue, I know. Discussion items. I've been putting all of our ideas in discussion items since we don't have referrals yet. Those discussion items, some of them today are becoming referrals. So happy to announce that. I know some of those 8 are even mine alone. Other than that, we've been doing good, doing great. That's all.
I need your energy every morning, Nathan. I love it. Thank you. But yes, your referrals are in here and I will be reading them shortly. Alrighty, any questions on Senator Dunn's report? All right, seeing none, I will go ahead and turn over to our executive director. I will go ahead and read his report. Hello and happy Kindness Week, he says. Hope everyone enjoyed the great Super Bowl game and you are ready for a great week of kindness. I think this is such a wonderful program of events you have ready for Matadors this week. Congrats on that. Here are a couple of updates from him. The Children's Center had their on-site review last week and received outstanding comments from the auditor. So congrats to Lena and her staff at the center for all of the work they put into preparing for the visit. That's so exciting. All but one of the Outdoor Adventures trips have sold out this semester. I'm not for sure which trip has yet to be sold out, but that is very, very exciting. Go OA. We are currently interviewing, for several positions, including the facilities and risk manager, the sports club manager, the assistant director of the Children's Center, the programs coordinator, the supervising teacher and Children's Center office coordinator, and it's our hope to have all of these searches completed by the end of the month. So hopefully we'll be able to accomplish all of that by March. The 2024-2025 IRA a budget application has been distributed, and we have 2 information sessions scheduled for faculty. So it's really exciting. Most of the office refresh has been completed. The only one thing we are still waiting on are some items for the admin office. I'm sure you see that little bare area over there, but that will obviously have furniture very soon. And if there's anything that you need, please let us know. They're always there to help. So yeah. We will start planning our end of the year celebration soon. So if you're interested on being the committee, please let Paige, let me, or Patrick know. I was not expecting to read this, so that's really interesting. But yeah, of course, that time of the year is coming. Application filing season is open, so awesome. And then next Monday is President's Day. I know that you all enjoy the interactions with former AS leaders. It's always a great program. And please let me know or let Patrick know if you have any questions. So yeah, be kind and have a great week, and he will see you next Monday. Are there any questions that I can somewhat answer on behalf of Patrick that you may have? Alrighty, seeing none, I'll go ahead and turn it over to our University Advisor, Asia Butler, for her report.
Good morning. So I did receive confirmation from Dr. Watkins that for fall 2024, the CSUN commitment date has been changed to June 1st. Today is our IFC bid day, so staff will be out assisting IFC with their bid day. Just know that any student who wasn't able to participate in bid day, as long as they're eligible, they can do continuous open bidding or COB starting next week. And I'm going to be sending out an email to President Hajalu announcing our Newman Civic Fellowship opportunity. So every year the campus gets to nominate one student to represent the university in the nomination process. So I'll be sending out a very detailed email with all the information on eligibility requirements and the nomination application process. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Is the IFC bids, or is that on the OST lawn over there?
So we'll be distributing the bids from Matador Square. And then once the students, if they accept the bid, then they can go to OST lawn to meet with their chapter.
Awesome. That's very, very exciting. Congrats to all those individuals. I remember John and I watched that last year from the Sustainability Center, and that was really fun to watch. So yay, that's very exciting for our students. Are there any questions for Asia's report? Alrighty, seeing none, we'll go ahead and turn it over to our faculty advisor, Dr. Veda Ward.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. It was really amazing last week. If you just took a moment and looked at the sky. I always tell people when I moved here from Maryland, one of the first things that I noticed was that there were no clouds. And I couldn't figure out how my children were going to ever learn what cloud formations were. And last week, even though we were probably all very upset that we didn't have school on Monday, we were able to look at those clouds, see those formations, and really think of something good about the university's ability to just cancel a day on campus. And I will say that that kept you all, as well as faculty and staff, safe. And so those are important things that I just want to kick off and acknowledge for last week. In addition, we're going to have our faculty senate meeting, of course, on Thursday. And as we've announced previously, if you ever want to stop by, you can come by as a guest if there's room. This spring is a time when faculty are always looking for input from students for course development, new things that you might want to come up. In our particular college, we've been told that if we start a new class, normally we're asked to remove something else or put that on hiatus. So it isn't incremental that we just keep coming up with new classes, but we are looking to each of you to give us feedback as to courses that we're missing, areas that we may go, and those kinds of things that are going to encourage new students to come and commit to CSUN as a place to advance their lives as well as their knowledge. So again, if you have a faculty member that you're really connected with or are really in tune with a course that you can see ways in which we can improve it, then this is the time to do that. A lot of times this is the energy after we've had fall, gone through that input from students and feedback, and now in spring, developing those new courses that will move forward. And that is a relatively, I don't know, for you all, lengthy process. So it normally takes more than a year to go through the department, the academic college, and then move on to the campus level. So again, it is a commitment for you all, particularly those of you who have been around for a while, to give that input before you leave. This week, of course, we have all kinds of things coming up, Valentine's Day, as well as, I guess, Mardi Gras, those kinds of things. Moving on into some religious areas for some of you, looking at Lent, those kinds of things. Be aware of those, not only within your courses, but also among your constituents. And remember that that is an aspect of them that may be coming through in the ways in which they interpret what's going on in their classes. So again, that issue of relevance, meaning mind, body, spirit, keeping that all in place as you move forward this semester. All right. I think one of the last things I'd like to mention is preparation for professional development. And that is conferences and other opportunities that may be coming along this semester. Again, the idea is to connect with faculty members to find out about those opportunities, whether you are presenting or if you are going to attend a professional conference or workshop. And again, for I know in my particular state association, it will be held in Palm Springs. Normally, the conference is either way up north in Sacramento, or it's in Long Beach or San Diego. This is one of the few times that students in my department will be able to go to that state conference in a drivable area, right? And so again, think about those things for yourselves. When your organizations, your contact with those in the profession, career areas that you're interested in, make sure that you do that. In addition, we have been told that faculty members, departments can initiate a letter that you may need for your faculty members saying, oh, I'm going to miss a class, but for a legitimate reason. So again, don't let some of those things hold you back. That conversation with faculty about your commitment to your education, professional development is an important one to have. And so again, you all talk about office hours. We have them too. And so whether it's an email, a Zoom, or in person, those office hours are there for those types of conversations. So again, I wish you a really good week. I looked at the sky this morning, no clouds. So again, enjoy those things. All right, bye-bye. Any questions?
All right, I don't think there are any questions, but now I'm always going to appreciate the clouds. Wow, seriously. Thank you. All righty, we don't have any unfinished business. We do have Couple new business items. We'll go ahead and start with line item A to allocate $1,000 from unassigned contingency to Women in Science. Would our Chair of Finance like to elaborate on this? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So we're seeking, or this was a recommendation from Finance Committee to give the Women in Science organization $1,000 for their UCLA blood drive. It's a collaborative event they're hosting with UCLA. It's the first event of this sort this year. In the past, we've had like blood drives for other organizations, but no blood drives have been requested by other student clubs and orgs this year. And I believe the breakdown of that $1,000 figure is attached in the attachments below. Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, is there a motion? Vice President Anderson.
I move to approve the allocation of $1,000 from unassigned contingency to Women in Science.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Chavez, thank you. Is there any discussion? Yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
I know that 1,000 is the recommendation from Finance Committee. What was the original amount that they requested?
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll pull it up right now.
Thank you.
Yes,
Point of personal privilege.
granted. I was just gonna quickly touch on, I'm not for sure if their original, the recommendation currently is $1,000, $150 for the reusable banner, $300 for advertising, and then $500 for the room reservation, but I know you're asking for the original amount, but I just want to touch on that is in the, Senate agenda.
Yep, thanks, Paige. So the original amount was $2,400 and we funded them $1,000. This was because we decided that like they requested $1,700 in just advertising for this one-day event. And this would be like A's frames and lawn signs. And we figured that $1,700 would just be a bit excessive. So we cut down advertising to $300, which seemed pretty reasonable.
So most of the money was going to advertising instead.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any further questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving line item A, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstain? Great, the motion passes. Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to line item B to suspend section 3. Article E, I guess, of the 2023-24 Senate Standing Rules to allow Nick Tivey, our AMC Senator, to take a course within the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Mondays. Is there a motion? Senator Kaddish.
I move to deny the suspension.
I knew this was coming. Alrighty. Is there a second? Yeah, I was gonna say, you can vote against it if you would like, but since it is to approve on, the motion is to approve. But that's what we're hoping to do, but you can deny, you can not vote to approve, is what I'm trying to say, excuse me. You can amend it. You can also table it indefinitely, yeah. Let's be supportive to our co-senator. Alrighty, is there a motion? Senator Tivey?
We need the motion on the agenda and then we can go from there. But and then we can have amendments after we've had the motion on the agenda.
Yes, Senator Khan.
I move to approve line item B.
There you go, thank you. Is there a second? Senator Chavez, thank you. Is there any discussion? Senator Tivey. Okay, yeah, no worries. Thank you. But yes, we did need to make a motion for item B. So thank you, Senator Khan. You are more than welcome to make an amendment to table this motion indefinitely, if you would like.
I move to table,
You move to
or I move
amend.
to amend line item B and to table indefinitely.
Yes, Asia.
So, so it sounds like you want to do just a motion to table or postpone indefinitely so that it would just die essentially, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't have to do a motion to amend. It's just a motion to postpone indefinitely or table indefinitely. Because amending would be amending the motion and you would just want it to die. So a motion to table indefinitely is a totally new motion, so you don't have to amend it. Just say, I move to postpone or table indefinitely, whichever word you want to use. And then that's the new motion that supersedes anything else.
Alrighty. Thank you. Golden, feel free next time to speak up if you would like. Alrighty, so we will go ahead and, if you'd like to make a motion to table this line, to table line item B indefinitely.
I move to table line item B indefinitely.
All right, thank you. Is there a second? Senator Scher, thank you. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of tabling line item B indefinitely, please raise your hand. All right, any opposed? Any abstain? The motion passes. Alrighty, we do have to enter committee of the whole. Is there a motion to enter committee of the whole? Senator Saravia,
I move to enter committee of the whole.
thank you. Is there a second? Senator Tran, thank you. Any discussion? All right, the motion passes unanimously. We'll now move on to line item A, which is the supplemental funding request. I'm not going to read that all. You can read it in your Senate agenda. But is there a motion? Yes, Senator Saravia.
I move to approve line item 1.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Chavez, thank you. Is there any discussion? Is there anything you would like to add, Chair of Finance, to this?
Yes, of course. So Sam mentioned earlier working with like Maddie's Closet in the initiative of like bringing thrift stores to campus. So this is something that Productions is planning. They're probably going to be working with the student as well. They're planning on doing a Thursday thrift. So this would be a recurring event where they facilitate clothing swaps and pop-ups for various clubs and orgs. It would probably be hosted at Matador Square as well.
Thank you to our Chair of Finance. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Chief of Staff Ryan.
Sorry, I did want to clarify that my meeting with Maddie's Closet today is to try to make this thrift idea more solidified so where it's everyday accessible in the basic needs center, just to clarify the intention of the meeting. But this is going to be a reoccurring event regardless every Thursday, just to clarify.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Senator Kaddish.
So I was just reading the item description and it said, this may include higher quality infused waters. What would those infused waters be? Does anybody know?
Chair of Finance.
I'm not too sure about that, but I know sometimes when Productions host events, sometimes they have like infused cucumber waters and things like that. Maybe it's just there to elevate the event or bring in some students.
Did you have a question, Senator Saravia?
It also says here that just for sustainable snacks and beverages, it's going to be 1,150. Is that going to be for the duration of the semester?
Yes, I'm assuming so.
Yes. Are there any further questions? Great, see none. All those in favor of approving line item 1, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstain? Great, the motion passes. Alrighty, we will now exit the committee of the whole. Is there a motion to exit the committee of the whole? Senator Saravia.
I move to exit committee of the whole.
Thank you. Is there a second? Senator Tran, thank you. Is there any discussion? Great, seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. We'll now go ahead and move on to approve the recommendations of the committee of the whole. All those in favor of approving the recommendations of the committee of the whole, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstained? Great, the motion or the recommendations are approved. Thank you. Alrighty, we're almost there, everyone. We don't have any information items or discussion items. We do have quite a few legislative referrals, so I'm going to kind of quickly go through those and assign them. So yeah, our first one is from Senator Dunn, titled AS Accounting Infrastructure Update. His request is as follows. Hello, Senate. AS Accounting needs vital updates to its operations in order to modernize its capabilities. Some of these updates can be an online portal for club leaders to view their balances, recent transactions, and direct deposits. This would make access to club funds more accessible and cut down on calls to AS Accounting for smaller questions. Thank you, Senator Dunn. This is suggested to go to External Affairs and University Affairs, and I will send this to University Affairs. Alrighty. Our next legislative referral is also from Senator Dunn, titled Free Scantrons. The request is as follows: for AS to purchase Scantrons for students to access at the AS office for no cost, to be available at all times. This was suggested to go to Internal Affairs and University Affairs, and I'll send it to Internal Affairs. Our next legislative referral is from Senator Tran, titled Bike and Scooter Safety. The request is as follows: better campus security over stolen bikes and scooters. There should be a bike lane on Lindley, and extra safety of pedestrians at the crosswalk on Lindley and Vincennes. That street over there. This is suggested to go to University Affairs, and University Affairs it will go. The next legislative referral was from Senator Saravia and Senator Toledo Carranza, titled Matadors Giving Back. The request is as follows: a day to allow students to come on campus to drop off lightly used clothing, food, basic hygiene items, blankets, and etc. to be donated on behalf of CSUN associated students to various homeless organizations, as well as drop off dog food, beds, clothes, and toys that will be donated to various animal shelters. This was suggested to go to University Affairs, and University Affairs it will go. That's kind of similar to Matters Day of Service, so I'd recommend talking to the MIC maybe about that. Alrighty. This next legislative referral was submitted from Senator Iman Khan, titled the Chair of Finance to add a responsibility section. The request is as follows: on CSUN AS Wiki, the Chair of Finance does not have a responsibility section. A responsibility section to be found / created and published. This is in the Code of Finance, but we'll just send it to Internal Affairs. Well, it's suggested to go into Internal Affairs, and that's where it will go. So thank you. Alrighty, our close to being done legislative referral is also from Senator Iman Khan, titled Chair of Diversity and Inclusion, Committee Code within Chair Code. The request is as follows: the Chair of Diversity and Inclusion Code includes the Committee Code within the Chair Code, and this should be separated. This was suggested to go to Internal Affairs, and Internal Affairs it will go. The next legislative referral is also from Senator Iman Khan, titled the Code on Finance. The request is as follows: the Code on Finance does not have a documented Senate approval date. Records should be searched for approval date, approved if not already, or reapproved. This was suggested to go to Internal Affairs, and Internal Affairs it will go. And our last and final legislative referral is from, missed one, is from Senator Tran, titled Campus Street Lighting. Lighting on Matador Road is too dark, especially during rainy nights. Lamps on Jacaranda Walk is broken near the F4 parking lot, so there should be more light up stop signs. This is suggested to go to University Affairs, and University Affairs it will go. Couple more legislative referrals from Vice President Anderson. The request or the title is Parking Lot Safety Signs. The request is as follows. As you all have probably experienced, many individuals drive a bit recklessly in the parking lots on campus. In order to combat this, I believe we should partner with the parking services and PPM to create signs that encourage students to slow down, turn their lights on, and generally drive more carefully. I can talk to whoever takes this referral on and give them more details. This was suggested to go to University Affairs, and University Affairs it will go. And our last legislative referral, also from Vice President Anderson, titled Raise Senate Stipends. Everyone's like, wait, what? Let me listen in. The request is as follows. As Senate stipends have not been raised since 2021, I believe we should begin to research raising them and decide on an amount that will ensure senators are paid closer to the minimum wage. Currently, senators are only paid around $12 an hour, assuming they work 10 hours per week. Raising our stipends to be closer to the California minimum wage will create more drive in our members and make it easier for us to recruit new members. It will also begin to close the pay gap between Senate and Cabinet. I'm open to meeting with whoever takes this on to give them more information. This was suggested to go to Internal Affairs, and Internal Affairs it will go. Alrighty, that was a lot, but you will obviously all get the referrals sent to you so you can add them to your minute or your agenda, excuse me. Are there any announcements from the board? Yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
This was announced like 2 weeks ago from Samantha, Chief of Staff. We're planning the first generation event, and it will be like campus-wide, and we're still working on that. We'll be meeting with the EOP director, Parsa, probably this week or next week. I'm also planning the Dreamers event. It will be also campus-wide, where we'll more of like bring awareness about what it is like to be an undocumented student. And yeah, and I will also be meeting with Dream Center and the Dreams to Be Heard Club.
Thank you. Are there any further announcements? Yes, Senator Saravia.
So I was made aware of this event last week. The College of Humanities is going to be hosting an event on February 29th. For students or anyone that would like to come and talk to the Dean and Associate Dean of the College of Humanities. And I was also included in the flyer, so I will also be there to answer any questions that faculty or students have in regards to the College of Humanities or AS. So if any of you guys are interested in going, it will be in the Whitsett Room in Sierra Hall on the 4th floor.
Thank you. Are there any further announcements? Yes, Senator Toledo Carranza.
What time is that event again?
It's going to be from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Yes, go for it.
Also, the women's rugby team is going to be having their second game this Saturday. It's not going to be home, unfortunately. It is going to be in Claremont College. So if anyone feels like driving an hour away to go watch, we would really love it. This past Saturday, unfortunately, we took the L, but we had a pretty good turnout, and we actually had the CSUN cheerleaders there. So that was actually very surprising. But it just means that sports clubs are kind of just trying to reach out towards each other to try to support each other. So yeah, I would really encourage you all to go to these sports club games or events or competitions, because even though they're not official sports, a lot of students dedicate time, energy, money to be able to participate in these sports. So showing them our support would be really, really meaningful.
Yeah, well, sorry about that loss, but hopefully we'll bring it home for us this weekend. So very exciting. Good luck with that. Are there any further announcements? Yes, Vice President Anderson.
I totally forgot to mention it in my report, but Council of Chairs is meeting today over Zoom at 2:30 p.m. So our 3 chairs, I will see you later.
Awesome. Any further announcements? Yes, Asia.
Sorry, I just wanted to provide a little bit more context. So reminder that whenever you're making a motion, it always has to be in the affirmative. So it's never like I move not to do this or I move not to do that. There is a formal way to withdraw a motion that's made. It's kind of complicated, But I think another option could have been to just let the chair know that that motion was no longer needed before the motion was made. And then that would have kind of cut out some of that. But motions are always made in the affirmative.
Thank you for that clarification. Definitely always trying to make sure we're following Robert's rules and learning his silly rules that he made up for us. Just kidding. Are there any further announcements? Yes, Dr. Ward.
Yes, I rarely do this, but I have one today. And that is just a reminder that for those of you who are registered voters, that you have received voting materials in the mail. If you are living on campus or away from home, or you have another address, make sure that you check for those. So again, those of you who are willing and able to participate in that process, please do so. And then those of you who are thinking about becoming or can be registered voters, please look at that and remind family, friends, and constituents about that participative opportunity.
Thank you so much. And yes, it's a super, super important point, and thank you for sharing that with us. Are there any further announcements? I have one really quick before you all probably want to punch me in the face. Alrighty. Last one thing is there is a networking opportunity. I know I shared this with you all, but I just wanted to remind you all that it is with the Alumni Association, the USU and AS has been invited, and also Premier America Credit Union. It is right here in the Grand Salon on February 27th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. There will be food, so if that's not an incentive, I don't know what else. That's a huge incentive, I feel like. Again, it's a great networking opportunity. Definitely, if you can around campus, stop by. If you want to attend, please RSVP by February 20th. I did send out an email a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to resend that out just so it's at the top of your inbox so you can have that link to RSVP if you decide to go. And yeah, if you have any questions about that, let me know. I can answer any of those questions. Also, it looks like it's really good. I forgot to mention for student club and org leaders, they're going to go over CSUN Funder and different platforms that you can use to raise money for your club and org. So definitely a great event to attend if you are a club leader. Are there any further announcements from the board? Alrighty, seeing none, I'll turn it over to our Attorney General for the final roll call.
Vice President Anderson, Senator Bobnagri, Senator Chavez, Senator Doe, Senator Dunn, Senator Kaddish, Senator Iman Khan, Senator Awais Khan, Senator Mezabin, Senator Radionov, Senator Sarkeesian, Senator Saravia, Senator Scher, Senator Tybee, Senator Toledo Carranza, Senator Tran. Thank you.
Thank you to our Attorney General, and I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 11:02 a.m. Thank you all for being here and staying the whole time. I really appreciate it. And have a beautiful week.